Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
Yeah.
Now, this is where I draw the line in the sand, Jody. This is a bridge too far. Really? This is the I know you are, but what am I? No, Joe Biden poops his pants. What has Noel Castler told us? He's been his pants since 19 whatever.
Hot 4.
Yes, on The Apprentice. They had to go change him like a baby. Oh, I don't even want to know what that looks like. Okay. Yes, please. Let's hear from one more Trumper, shall we?
So he is the president.
Yes, he never conceded. He is very much the president.
Trump is. Okay.
Of the
Okay.
No,
Republic. Biden has been doing all his White House pictures out there in California at Black Rock Studio with the fake green screen.
And
He
so,
doesn't even live in the White House. Nobody lives in White House.
oh, so he's in California?
Yeah.
Good morning. I'm so glad you played that clip or those couple of clips because I really needed my blood pressure up this morning. A couple of things about those people. First of all, those two people, they got done talking to whoever was asking them questions. And then they got into 2,000-pound bullets and drove out onto the highway with other human beings where they have to make snap decisions that could make the difference between living and dying.
Yes.
So just sleep tight, America.
Sleep tight, America. Yeah.
Because these people are among us.
And they vote.
You tweeted MSNBC entrance poll among caucus goers, 66% don't believe Biden won the election. So we're not far off from these people. 30% believe Biden won. 2/3 of Iowa Republicans are effing bananas. They've been easily suckered by the world's most notorious and obvious con man. I mean, yeah. So
that's the thing with the obvious part. That's the operative word in that phrase because everyone knows it. I mean, it's staggering. They believe this. Okay, this is the MAGA base, right? Mm-hmm. They believe that the most notorious liar in the world right now is the only one telling the truth, and everyone else is lying.
Right, when he said,
that's how badly deluded
every
they
trial,
are.
Criminal, civil, all of it, it's all Joe Biden is behind all. I mean, and I'm like, I guess there is some percentage that believes that.
Yeah.
All these grand juries and all of these places, literally criminal, civil. Really? Like Joe Biden made him rape E. Jean Carroll in the, what was that,
90s?
80, 90, whenever it was.
Right. It's just a gigantic global cabal lined up against one guy who just happens to be the world's most notorious con man liar.
He's
right?
like
the guy who's on trial right now for fraud, for business fraud. The main thing that he's all about is a gigantic fraud that he made up, cooked books, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And that's their messiah.
Well,
Good luck.
Like
Good luck with your latex
I love
salesman.
your the way you say it, the most obvious con man. It's like the worst pickpocket in the world. It's just like, look over there. Oh, I have your watch. I saw you take my watch. What?
Right.
I'm going to stick my hand in your pocket right now. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to take your wallet and run off with it.
Yes.
Do you care? No, I don't care at all. Go ahead. Go right ahead. 'Cause I'm an idiot. I'm a gigantic sucker.
I mean, even his lawyers don't believe in him. Donald loses 2 more lawyers, Mary Trump tweets, and you say insane to me that so many of these guys deliberately go close to Donald, knowing he's a nightmare client. I mean, there's an easily reachable public record of it. This is what he does, and there'll be another sucker who will power walk into the propeller any minute now. I mean, he does just go through lawyers. Right,
Right, and you know that there are like 4 or 5 of them lined up to interview with him today. Yeah. Like they desperately want to get close to this toxic cancer, this human cancer, who does this not only to his lawyers, does it to his staff members. I mean, how many times is Rudy Giuliani going to get utterly screwed 1,000 different ways because he got close to Donald Trump? That's the trend. That's what happens. I think the only person to escape this trend has been Stephen Miller, but it's just a matter of time because Donald Trump's still out there doing stuff. So
he's
eventually Stephen Miller is going to get steamrolled. Yeah.
I think we mentioned that they didn't have a gender reveal party for Stephen Miller. They had a species reveal. Yeah. And he was hatched from a.
Yeah, right. He was like, he came out as Sleestack.
Yeah.
Yeah, and occasionally Donald Trump still has to barf food down Stephen Miller's throat. Yeah. Like a little baby bird.
Right.
I mean, speaking of the most obvious con man, Trump said we're going to build an iron dome over our entire country. And you said if Trump were a real American, he'd make the dome out of beef. We're very close to your jetpacks made of beef.
God.
Promise.
Yeah.
We all get jetpacks made of beef.
It's only a matter of time. We've got so many months to go before November. And they were talking about this on Joy Reid last night and saying that, we have to get used to the fact. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't Joy Reid. It's Chris Hayes' show. They were talking about how I don't think we've wrapped our heads around the idea that Donald Trump is going to be in our living rooms between now and November and beyond. He is. It's going to be all the entire 4-year term of him being president. It's going to be that all over again. But compacted
I just heard
into just 10 months or so.
A tease on MSNBC. Is Biden, the coalition that elected Biden, just exhausted and dissipating? And I'm like, we're exhausted, but not by Joe Biden.
Right.
This guy that we're still having to talk about and deal with. I mean,
I keep thinking about this, Stephanie. We do this thing in this country where we elevate heroes and then we love to tear them down.
Yeah.
See also, for just an example off the top of my head, like Lance Armstrong. We build him up as a big.
Oh, well, he tore himself down. Cheater, pumpkin eater.
Sure, but I mean, we helped. we just decided, okay, well, this guy's not the hero.
I'm a cyclist, but that's where I draw the line.
Well, he saved all kinds of cancer people with cancer at his cancer foundation.
Yeah.
Amazing work, and so there's at least that.
That's true.
And but I mean, with Donald Trump, when is that going to happen? When is that part going to happen? The tear down part of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
When are people just going to go, hey, you know what? I'm sick of the cut of his jib. Let's tear him all down. It's got to happen at some point because it happens to everybody eventually, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when is it going to happen to Trump? I mean, there's no better person more deserving of that kind of treatment than Donald Trump.
Yes. Of jib shaming. Thank you.
Yeah, jib shaming.
Don't even know what that is.
That
Well, that's
guy's
Malcolm
jib.
Nance. I think it's a sailor thing. Yeah, you said, speaking of MSNBC, no one trolls Trump like Lawrence O'Donnell trolls Trump. He just noted that Trump's projected margin of victory will be the lowest margin ever for someone who's already been president. Weak, low energy.
Yeah.
Well,
So good.
It's true. I don't think, Bob, that's just you and I being happy clappy. I mean, Rachel Bittigoffer, who, was a little something, who you talk to a lot, says Trump won Iowa caucus and will likely keep winning aside from New Hampshire, but there was nothing dominant about his performance. Cracking 50% as an incumbent president in a very small field is pretty weak, and worse, the terrible turnout suggests even Republicans are over the Trump show. I mean, it was cold, but the Iowans are used to the cold. But I mean, it literally, as someone put it, Bob, it's like half of Iowa vote. I mean, it was like 100,000 people. So, I think,
49%
Allison Gill
of
said, so
Republicans.
maybe calm down, media.
Yeah.
Yeah, 49% of Iowa Republicans voted against Donald Trump.
Yeah.
In 2020, when they had the sort of ceremonial Iowa caucus on the Republican side, Donald Trump got 98% of the vote. That's a gigantic collapse between what happened
I know,
in
Bob,
2020
not
and
enough
now.
people are pointing that out. That that he got, that
I
this
think
is a huge collapse from the last time even. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what happens is the threat of Donald Trump, and I'm susceptible to this as much as anybody, the threat of Donald Trump, I think, exceeds the actual practicality of him winning. I still think that the trend line shows that Donald Trump is going to lose this year because he barely won in 2016. We can do the drill. 2018 he lost, 2020 he lost, 2022 his party lost because he was attached to so many candidates, election deniers and so forth. And so why would that trend suddenly turn around and the American people go, well, let's try that guy again? We've rejected him so many times, but maybe this time. I don't think that's going to happen.
Somebody was parsing the numbers saying, actually, I think it was Ann Coulter. Oh my God. Which just said
what's
that,
going
Biden
on?
loses, or excuse me, Trump loses hugely to Biden. She said, what percentage of people that voted for Biden are like, you know what, I think I'm going to try Trump now? Like zero. Right? So, when you look at, and then the number of Republicans that say, and you and I know both believe, so does Rachel Maddow and many other legal experts, he is going to be convicted. Yeah. And there's that section of the, that says, no, I'm out. That's a third of Republicans. Think about that, on top of the weak performance.
And Ari Melber made a good point on his show the other night. You can see I've been watching lots of cable news. I was
going to say, boy, we just live in our liberal bubble and we embrace it. I've quoted Rachel to you, and you've quoted Lawrence O'Donnell to me.
Watch it until Trump yanks their license.
Right? Did you see that? They had to yank MSNBC and CNN's license because they didn't air my victory speech. Like, you do not get our licenses work. What?
Red hats from coast to coast right now going, they're going to lose their FCC license. Not
oh my God, he
realizing
envisions Dear Leader TV, where state television is required to run everything Dear Leader says. I mean, it's crazy.
It's just absolutely nuts. Well, because he obviously wants to continue playing the victim. I mean, that's his whole thing. He plays the victim. But what Ari Melber said on his show, that this is about a guy who's going to be convicted at some point very, very soon. Before the election, he's going to be convicted of at least one crime. And history has taught us that convicted for a crime does not really help a presidential candidate, does not help, not a president, but any politician.
In a sane
for that
world,
matter.
yes.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that he's going to be convicted for a crime, that history shows us that that's going to decimate his campaign, or at least hurt his campaign enough for him to lose. My big concern in the upcoming election is Democrats not bringing enough energy to take advantage of the fact that Donald Trump is a weak and damaged candidate right now. So I hope that we can do this. I hope that we can not engage in the infighting and which person is the same as the other person and both sides are the same and all that nonsense, and really focus on bringing the energy and dominating the next election, because the stakes couldn't be higher, from the Supreme Court on down to the future of human existence.
Bob, I think next week, just to throw you off, I'm going to start quoting Fox hosts. I'm going to be like, well, you know, it's like Ainsley always says.
I was watching Brian Kilmeade the other day.
Steve Ducey said, did you see that?
The other day said, duh.
Brian Kilmeade said herp, and then Ducey said derp.
Right.
Yes. Done derp in the morning. Yeah.
You tweeted, way too many alleged small government Iowans will pledge their support to an indicted fraud who repeatedly announced he'll be a dictator. So many badly deluded suckers. We have to keep reminding ourselves too, though, Bob, what a tiny sliver of the electorate it is, you know, that we're looking at. This, you know, exclusively white, you know, evangelical Christians that decided he's their false god. Yeah. I mean...
Yeah. Well, our politics can no longer continue on any sort of healthy trajectory as long as these people are this badly deluded. They're gone. They're lost. And that, I think, poses a problem for the future of democracy, because you've got, you know, a good 20, 30, maybe 40% of the voting population just completely out to lunch, completely snowed by this con man.
But
we got to figure out a way.
You make the best point, though, about
function.
our it's all we can do, you know, our coalition.
Yeah.
As Sunday Divine tweeted, this, gestures broadly, is surely the fault of every single eligible voter who refused to vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016. Have I ever mentioned that I will?
You die mad.
Okay, so that's what we need to avoid, Bob, right? Is, you know, effery, right?
Right. I mean, again, the pushback against this movement is not just winning more elections and prioritizing the idea of winning elections. I think one of the reasons why the MAGA movement is so toxic is because literally everything is about winning. It's no longer about policy. It has to do with dominating.
They're like, we want the military to put Trump back in. They absolutely have given up on democracy. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Right. And we have to arm ourselves with the truth, with reality, and use that to buttress the idea of prioritizing winning elections. And not just winning elections, but dominating elections. I think that's the more appropriate term here, because we have to continue to send a signal that a vast majority of Americans still support democracy, are still somehow tethered to reality. Because it's not just what happens here, it's the global perception of what happens in the United States. If democracy fails here, democracy will fail around the world. Because especially emerging democracy will see us and go,
Malcolm
why
Nance is
should we
going to
even
talk
try
to us about that from Israel in just a bit. But you know, Bob, when you talk about dominating,
oh God,
my mind goes somewhere else. You and a Batman costume. Okay, sorry. I've been alone for a month in my COVID closet. I love you, Bob Cesca.
She's horny.
I love you,
Yes,
Stephanie.
she is.
Me so horny. What?
I'm still waiting for Warner Brothers to send me a Batman suit so I can appear one day here as Batman. Yeah,
hello, Warner Brothers.
What?
Make
Warner
all
Brothers?
Mama's dreams
Warner
come
Brothers?
true.
Is it the Joel Schumacher version with the nipples?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's the first one you go to.